like to call this meeting to order for the City of Geneva Historic Preservation Commission for Tuesday, April 16th, 2024. We'll start with a roll call.
Hartman.
Here.
Jensen. Here. McManus.
Here.
Phillips.
Here.
Solomon. Stazen. Zelmer.
Here. We have a quorum. Okay, first item on our next item on our agenda is the approval of meeting minutes for March 19th, 2024. Any additions or changes you see? If not, can I get a motion to approve?
I move to approve the meeting minutes from March 19.
Yes.
I second.
Okay, call the roll on that one.
Hartman.
Aye.
Jensen. Aye. McManus.
Aye.
Phillips.
Aye.
Zelmer.
I have to abstain, I was out of town. Okay,
Let the record show that Commissioner Hartman should be an abstention as well, because he was out of town as well.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
okay. The next item is a 5-minute field guide. Michael?
Thank you. So tonight's 5-minute field guide is preservation and contemporary alterations. So we know why we preserve. There's lots of reasons why we preserve historic buildings and historic places, and that's not the purpose of this evening's 5-minute field guide. We also know how to preserve. There's different levels of preservation, whether it's restoration, rehabilitation, renovation, reconstruction, and some people even consider remodeling as preservation. But while the rehabilitation of grand Victorian-era homes like the 1887 Hench House is still breathtaking, the preservation movement of the 21st century has broadened its reach, embracing humble forms of architecture as well as welcoming innovative and sensitive contemporary alterations, additions, and interpretations of beloved places. Contemporary additions can interpret the architecture of historic buildings, such as this pre-Revolutionary War tavern that was given new life as a public building with careful attention to the separation of old and new. Contemporary alterations can bring new life to small and undistinguished historic buildings. This building was once a brownfield site after it was decommissioned as an electrical substation, but is now a neighborhood event and activity center that is part of a community pocket park dedicated to public art. Again, what was once a blank wall has had a very simple and non-competitive contemporary alteration made to its facade and turned into an active historic building. Contemporary modifications develop dynamic spaces in otherwise underutilized spaces of historic buildings. This is an example of the Schmitz Brewery Complex in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which now serves as housing and artist studios. And although the historic building looks basically untouched, they've worked small little additions into the building throughout the complex, such as the rooftop addition on the lower left, a public space on the lower right that was once just a rail yard, and then common artist studios that reveal parts of the historic architecture combined with modern architecture. Contemporary alterations can bring new life to distressed historic buildings. Sometimes deteriorated structures require a creative approach to give apparent ruins new and dynamic uses and architectural expression. For example, the lower left is the Mill City Museum that commemorates a disastrous flour mill explosion and is now a vibrant city museum. On the lower right is the Minokan Glass House, which is an ambitious initiative to interpret lost portions of the Virginia home of Francis Lightfoot Lee and his wife Rebecca. It was constructed from 1769 to 1771 and sat on a 1,000-acre plantation, which was a wedding gift from Rebecca's father. But the house fell into ruin, and now a contemporary architectural expression is being used, constructed solely of glass to fill in the missing parts of the building. Contemporary interpretations of historic architecture can add visual interest to established neighborhoods as well. New construction in established neighborhoods is most successful when it is thoughtfully scaled and detailed to complement surrounding architecture, materials, massing, and scale. The upper left corner is a contemporary version of a Greek Revival home. The lower left is a contemporary version of a Tudor home. The center lower row is a house designed by Yale students to fit into a historic neighborhood using contemporary materials and only 1,000 square feet in area. And the Edgemore house is an award-winning design using stone and stucco to blend into a historic neighborhood. Of course, successful and dynamic contemporary additions to and alterations of historic structures require thinking outside of the box, combined with a high level of skill, sensitivity, and creativity within the project team, from owners and investors to designers and contractors. That's tonight's 5-minute field guide. Are there any questions or comments?
Great.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Great.
I think it was great then.
I do like how creative the builders, architect, or whoever did those changes were in keeping the old, but then also making sure it was preserved and fit the area. So kudos to the architect, builder, whoever did all those wonderful things.
Agreed, Joel, yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Michael. The next item on our agenda is a review of building permit applications. 220 North 5th Street, case number 24010. Go ahead, Michael. Why don't you introduce it?
So the property at 228 North 5th Street is located in the far northwestern corner of the local Geneva Historic District and is located in the North Geneva Historic District listed in the National Register of Historic Places. It is one of our mid-century modern homes that survives in our historic district. We have very few mid-century modern homes, and this is one of them. It's very well preserved, built in the late 1950s. I provide the history for you in the staff report that you all have received. The proposal is to build a new detached garage in, along the Ford Street frontage of the lot. So about where this little picket fence is depicted in the image there. The proposal is to build the detached garage at the required limits for zoning. So it's set 20 feet back from the Ford Street property line, which actually sets it back from the northern wall of the existing residence. And it is set inside of the required 8-foot or 6-foot side yard zoning lot. So the garage is a one-car garage, a large one-car garage. It's 18 by 20. And the proposal is to remove some of the existing sidewalks and reconfigure the patio and the garage to be compliant with the allowable lot coverage. This property has been reviewed for compliance with city code, and the city planner and the building commissioner concur that this plan is compliant. The proposal is, again, to build a one-car garage with some extra space around, storage space around it. It's a simple garage that matches the simple lines of the mid-century modern ranch home. The roof line and the materials of the roof are complementary to the historic residence. The building will be sided with a composite siding of LP Smart Side, which the commission is familiar with. However, as you may recall from a few meetings ago, the manufacturer of LP Smart Side had discontinued the smooth siding that we require under our siding policy, and they have just introduced their replacement, which is called brushed smooth lap siding. So I'll pass that sample around just so you can see it's got a slight texture to it, but it does not have a heavy cedar mill impression, which we do not approve in the historic district. The garage door is a garage door that's designed to complement the lines of the original garage door that still exists on the original home. And again, a fairly simple door with some vision lights, some light at the top of the door. Mr. Reams is here tonight. If you have questions for him, he can add anything that I've missed. If you would like to come to the podium, you can fill in any details I've missed or answer any questions the commission has.
No, that was about it, and I'm pretty flexible as far as what we have to do to make it work, so, that's why I kind of went and got a sample for the siding, just to maybe help out.
Sure. Will you continue to use the existing garage as a garage?
Yeah, my wife will be using that one, and I will use this other side, and that'll be where all the lawnmower, and other equipment
Okay.
that you accumulate, I'm gonna store it in there, so.
So the fact that there's 2 driveways on that one lot, that's been approved by the city engineer? And
That's permissible because
Okay.
they're on different street frontages.
okay.
We have that in other properties in the historic district as well.
Okay, great.
And I did omit to mention that Mr. Reams confirmed that the driveway will be concrete.
Yeah.
I do not have any questions. It seems like you did your homework very well.
I'm trying.
And it looks like you meet all of the standards that we would be looking for,
Thank you.
especially since it's appropriately scaled. You've already gotten some things approved, so I don't have any questions.
Neither do I.
Any comments?
No comment.
No comments. Well, it seems like it does kind of meet all the requirements of what we're looking for. It doesn't detract from the building, so, and it is set back from, is that a lucky accident that it's set back a little bit from the existing building?
Yeah, well, I know that we have to be 20 feet.
Yeah.
When I first started this, that's why I'm here, we tried to make sure everything conformed to what was gonna come down, so,
Yeah,
that's what it is, so that's the way it's gonna be.
that's
so.
good. And we actually prefer it to be set back from the building a little bit,
Yeah.
just so that you can tell the difference, so.
Yeah, that was told 20 feet is the
Yeah, and
requirement.
that just happens to be good for that. I guess I don't see any issues with it. Does anyone, I mean, it seems like we're meeting the requirements of the city of Geneva recommendations for a new structure and stuff like that, and reiterating what the commissioners said. You've got the right scale, you've got the right materials. And we're not involved with colors, so I'm sure you'll.
Well, my wife is gonna be in charge of all the colors, so
That's good.
we're safe.
Yes, yes. So with that, I guess, can I get a motion to approve this?
I'll move to approve the proposed new detached garage at 228 North Fifth Street.
I would
Second.
that.
Okay, and call the roll if you would.
Hartman,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
McManus,
Aye.
Phillips,
Aye.
Zelmer.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll complete the review, and then you'll get notified by the building division when the permit's ready to be picked up.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Our next item is 109 South Third Street, case number 2024-017.
Thank you, Chairman Zelmer. So the next case is a improvement on a vacant property along our iconic Third Street. The property is located just south of James Street. It is a vacant parcel in the Central Geneva Historic District, listed in the National Register of Historic Places, and is almost at the center of our local historic district. As you know, the property is vacant. It's a lot that was vacated when the house was moved from this property around the corner to James Street. And this property then came under the ownership of the Unitarian Universalist Society of Geneva. Those of you who've attended festivals and fairs in Geneva for any number of years know that this is a location where they normally have a booth during those festivals. So this is providing something that's more of a year-round cover for where their booth would be, but also providing amenity for shoppers and visitors along iconic 3rd Street. The materials are complementary to materials you would find within the historic district. There's no real precedent for what a gazebo structure should look like on this site, so they're proposing a timber structure with an asphalt hipped roof. The area would be paved. There would be some seating when they're not using it for booth space. It still allows access to the rest of the lot for those occasions where they may allow others to use the lot, such as the Geneva History Museum has used it for different events and what have you. Like I said, it will be a brick paving material. There will be 2 small signs on the property just identifying who has erected the gazebo, and that is for public use. And outside of that, that is the basic parameters of the project. There are representatives from the Unitarian Universalist Society of Geneva, I always stumble on that, who can come up and answer any questions and elaborate on the project.
Happy to do that. We stumble over it ourselves.
Yeah, could you introduce yourself?
Good evening. I'm Tom Lichtenheld. I'm on the board of directors at the Unitarian Universalist Church. And myself and a few other people of the church have been working on this project for a while. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Just a point of clarification, the roof, is it steel or is it?
It's metal.
I'm sorry, it is metal.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is that metal the brown that they were showing on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that the only color available?
Yes, it is.
Will you be, the rendering shows some benches underneath there. Will you be providing those also?
Yes, we will.
Okay. Appropriately bolted down to the,
Probably.
okay.
That's right.
Okay. Any other comments per se? I assume that you can build it in that low, you've spoke to the zoning people and there's no issues with
Yes, we
the
have.
location of it?
Yes, this is a permitted use in the zoning district.
Okay.
I, again, don't have any questions or concerns. I think it looks great. I think it's a great use of space for special events, and also allowing the History Museum to also use it when needed. I'm sure that's very much appreciated.
Yeah, I have no issues. I mean, the design is pretty simple and complementary to the space there. It's very nice.
Okay. I think it matches the scale of what the downtown is. It's not overly large and it doesn't
Yeah.
overwhelm things, so I think it's fine. Any other comments, Mr. Phillips?
The sidewalk goes into the property, you're gonna remove that and
Yeah,
replace it?
the sidewalk that's within the
grass or-
property will be removed and we'll reseed that area
Okay,
that's
great.
not covered by the gazebo and the pavers.
Any-
So if I'm walking down 3rd Street, I can just go and sit there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I do have one question. Who's building it? Are you guys building it, or?
There'll be a crew, the company that makes it will provide a crew. We have a general contractor who will oversee the crew.
Do you have an idea of the color of the pavers?
There's a sample there. We're gonna go on a field trip out to Uniloc, and we'll choose something that's compatible with the area. So you know, it'll be a neutral, probably there's the Westport and the Brussels block, which are all aggregate pavers, tan, neutral, I would say.
Okay. Any other questions from any commissioners? I think, like I said, I think it follows our, do we really even, we have some guidelines about accessory structures, right?
Yes, we have an entire section on gazebos, and this complies with that. And then this would also fall under our design guidelines for new construction.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
which the primary requirement for that is that it be discernible from
An existing.
existing and historic architecture in the area, and this certainly is discernible.
Sure. So with that, I think, can I get a motion to approve?
Sure. I move to approve the proposed new gazebo at 109 South 3rd Street as presented.
I'll second that.
Hartman,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
McManus,
Aye.
Phillips,
Aye.
Zelmer.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So the next step will be, again, I will finish my review. It will be passed off to the building division, and they will contact you as soon as the permit's ready, probably within a week or so.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is a new storefront, proposed new storefront at 210 West State Street.
Thank you, Chairman Zelmer. So this property is also located in the Central Geneva Historic District, listed in the National Register of Historic Places, and is approximately at the center of our local Geneva Historic District. The building was built in 1905 by John Wheeler, who was a prominent contractor in Geneva for many years. It's known as the Wheeler Building, but some people refer to it as Skoglund's Fine Furniture, and before it was just a furniture store, it was also Skoglund's Furniture and Mortuary at this location. As was typical with furniture builders, they built the caskets as well. So in 1932, they remodeled the storefront, and after they built their funeral chapel at the corner of 2nd and James Street. The alterations of the storefront were completed by Oscar Wilson of the Wilson Brothers. So again, it has some iconic attachments. At that time, they replaced what had been two individual storefronts with a central stair to the 2nd floor with a single centralized entry and large display windows. The other feature that was added at that point was the concrete bulkhead, which is scheduled to remain in the current proposal. So again, just to give you an enlargement of the storefront, again, large expanses of display glass with a recessed entry. The current entry was added in the 1960s, so there's different doors. So this is the existing storefront, and I will say that we have an astute chairman, because he would talk to me this afternoon and said something which he probably doesn't remember, but he asked if this is the 1932 storefront, and the materials of the storefront are 1932, but apparently the windows were somewhat altered in 1969 when Landfeld Furniture took it over, because they built those short wall or piers at the end of the storefront and reduced the glass area on the far ends of the display windows. So my report saying that it's all original is incorrect. So I bow to your smart and sharp eye. So the proposal is to replace the existing bronze screw attachment single pane windows with a thermal pane unit with a contemporary aluminum stick storefront. So these are the shop drawings for that storefront system. And the details of the glass showing that it is a forward glazed system, so instead of the glass being at the center of the aluminum section, it's pushed to the front like we have requested on several other storefronts in Geneva, the Geneva Historic District. The aluminum is scheduled to be a dark bronze, so it'd be complementary to the bronze color of the existing storefront, and the dimensions of the face of the stick material of the aluminum storefront closely approximates the material, the framing material of the current storefront. So as I said, this is the storefront, and I'm showing a detail of both the east and west. And I added these slides in late this afternoon. These are current slides as of this afternoon after Chairman Zellmer's call to me. So I'm only noting that because of his astute eye. The plans actually call for equal divisions of the storefront glazing. I think that is okay since it's a replacement, but the commission may choose to make it a condition of the approval that the glass panes match the existing dimension, the existing width of the existing storefront windows. That's a minor detail, but it might be something you want to consider. That's not going to affect the construction of the windows. It just will more closely replicate what is there with the current divisions. But again, that's a very minor detail that surfaced this afternoon. The doors, as I said, are the current doors there are not original to the 1932 storefront. These were installed apparently as part of the 1969 remodeling for Landfeld's Furniture. The proposal is to paint out the panels on either side of the doors the same color as the bronze aluminum storefront system, so they would all be monolithic. With that, that is the general case. The general contractor, Victor, could not be here tonight, so we have a stand-in Joe, and you can introduce yourself when you come to the podium and fill in any details I may have missed and answer any questions the commission has.
Thank you very much. My name is John Cascarelli. I'm filling in for Victor as he's sick, like I mentioned, and unable to attend. I apologize for him not being here, but I will answer any questions that I'm able to help for you guys. I am an employee of TLD, the Lighting Digest, who will be the tenant at that location real soon. So more than happy to answer any questions.
So the shop drawings that we're looking at here, the east storefront, the west storefront, the panels on the inside are just like the side lights to the left and the right of the double door entry. Is that what I'm looking at? And then
Those are the return windows to the, if you see on this view.
They're
There's a short little window before you get to the door.
Right.
So that's
Okay.
what you see on that.
And then your comment, Michael, was also that the shop drawings were maybe a little different than the dimensions that are on the existing storefront today?
Correct. So,
Okay.
I'll just turn this on quickly. So this pane is slightly larger than this because of this wall that was built at the end by the Landfeld Field Furniture Company. So you can see it's the same thing. So they built this little short wall, and that's being retained with what's been remodeled on the interior. And so this glass pane is a little bit narrower than this pane, and it's off by a very small amount.
Yeah.
But it is different. But again, that was just something I know this afternoon based on Chairman Zellmer's comments to me. You all make me think all day long. So yeah. So again, I think it's right about here is where the division would be according to the shop drawings. It's that minuscule of a detail.
But they will make them equal.
They're proposing to be equal. My question is whether or not you want it to be unequal as the existing condition is, or if you want it to be equal, because at this point it's very easy to make that modification at the shop, in the shop drawings.
Yeah.
It's a very minor detail.
Talking less than a foot, less than 6 inches?
Yes, and if you remember, it goes back kind of to the the 5-minute field guide I did a couple months ago about the storefronts.
Yeah,
And this is not intended to be a restoration. This is an adaptive storefront based on the conditions that are there and the interior remodeling they've done. This, I should also point out, this is part of a planned renovation of the entire facade that will be a phased project as a goal. So the goal is to remove all the wood siding and the shutters and all that, the mansard roof, and eventually remove all that and return it back to the original 1905 facade. But that will
Nice.
be a little down the road once they get established. So again, the storefront was added in 1932, and they're keeping the basic openings, they're keeping the original bulkhead. It's just a matter of the details of the glazing and the doors themselves.
so in previous conversations, I don't know that we had debated whether those details were historic and things that we should preserve, and I believe it was for
It was for the,
across the street, yeah.
yeah, across the street next to Starbucks there. And but theirs was a little more, a little bigger change than this is. This
Yeah.
is very minor. And I don't know whether anyone would pick up the fact that it, unless you're an architect and you're looking from the other side of the street, looking directly onto it, I'm not sure you'd pick up the
I
fact that
don't
they're
even,
not.
yeah, I don't know if you would then either, you know.
Well, I
like-
would, but no, no, I didn't say that.
You can take out your tape measure.
Yes, I do
Yeah.
have somebody that would say, oh, that looks a little long, but
Well, and I think the eye would want it to be,
I think it would be the same,
yeah,
yeah. I think it ended up, it just happened that way, that it's not the same, so, when they remodeled.
yeah.
Michael, is there any documentation or drawings of the original door when
The original
From
door, after the 1932 remodeling is set further back, and that's actually at the plane of where they created a weatherlock vestibule in 1969 for the furniture company. So
Okay.
the original door location is further back. Those doors were not original. They're going to be replaced also with an aluminum storefront system door there as well. So there are no pictures of the original
Yeah.
doors. They were probably wood at some point, but again, going back to that 5-minute field guide on storefronts, there's kind of 3 different approaches. There's a rehab of a historic or existing storefront, there's a pure restoration, and there's an interpretation. So again, we don't know whether, we know the transom level exists, but it appears that the transoms were removed to install this large mansard roof in 1969. So we know that it will never be restored back to 1932 or earlier again. So this is kind of an interpretive storefront to be sensitive to the architecture of the building as it evolved from 1905 to 1969.
Okay, so really, that's all kind of been lost in the different work that's been done on it over the years. Okay, thank you.
I mean, what survives is the rhythm of the 1932 storefront, so it's a tripartite division of the storefront, and the recessed centralized entry. And then the overall dimensions of the storefront glazing area. Those are the 3 elements that remain of the 1932 remodeling, and the bulkhead, which they're committed to keeping.
We'll keep to the bronze color for the framing and everything of that nature as well.
Have you thought about what are you gonna paint out that, the other panel that's next to
The
it?
panels next to the door entry are gonna be
Yeah,
painted that same
yeah.
brown bronze color to match the floor,
Yeah.
so it doesn't look different. We can paint this ends as well, but I think those ends are gonna be addressed when the upper level is addressed.
Sure.
And in the next phase.
It might be a little much to be all dark too. But, yeah, and we were walking there last night, and my wife said, well, why is it so wet behind there? And I said, well,
It's
that's
the
because
glass.
it's a single pane of glass, and when it's 0 degrees outside, you get
Correct.
ice
And that's what
growing.
we wanna correct, be able to
Yes.
be more efficient.
Exactly.
Because I'll be sitting right on the other side of those windows. I wanna
Yes,
make sure it's
exact-
nice and warm and cozy.
That's right.
Okay. Any other questions from commissioners? What's your feeling on equal lights or match what's there?
Probably do equal, just kind of,
Don, you gotta,
I would go with equal. Lean,
It's fine by
Equal.
me too.
yeah, okay,
It's fine by me, equal or keep the same, it's,
yeah.
it's the carpenter in me.
Everything's equal, right? I mean, yeah.
And it doesn't matter to you, right?
Cosmetically, I like equal,
Yeah.
symmetric.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm picking up from the commission. Well, with that, I think we've got consensus, so can I get a motion to approve, and if you could note that the equal lights is acceptable?
hang on. So I move to approve the request for a storefront window and door replacement at 210 West State Street, noting that the window divisions will be equal on each side.
I second that.
Hartman,
Aye.
Jensen,
I,
McManus,
Aye.
Phillips,
Aye.
Zelmer.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So again, as soon as I finish the review on this, it will be passed off to the building division, and you will have this added to your permit.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the Secretary's report.
Sure, thank you, Chairman Zelmer. Two things for you tonight. First is updating you on the approvals I've done on your behalf. I've only had 2 administrative approvals since we last met. However, I have 7 in progress on my desk at this moment, so those will be issued by the end of the week, back to the building division. And then, funny you mentioned this building earlier, but this was a building that you provided a conditional approval on, and you left it to staff to work out the details of the return window on the west entry. So, we've been working with the architect back and forth since our October meeting, and found that the window is not salvageable in any way, shape, or form. The window sash frame and jamb on the, at the interior side by the door was modified to accommodate the glass block. So the structural wood post will remain and be painted. The lower, what everybody thought was a sash, and I should have wrapped on it, but it's actually concrete with a bevel on it and painted out to look like wood. So there is no wood bottom sash surviving. The bulkhead with the T111 siding will be removed and replaced with storefront system panels to match the front of the building. As I said, the window sash and jamb were modified to accept the glass block on the interior corner. The prismatic glass is going to be salvaged but not reinstalled. We've worked back and forth with the storefront fabricator, and there is no real good way to, it cannot be incorporated into the storefront system. They won't warrant the system. They can't make it weather tight. There was talk about hanging it behind the storefront system, which they still may do. However, because it's the only piece of transom glass that will be there, they're thinking they will either mount it somewhere in the building with an explanatory note on it, what it is, or donate it to the Geneva History Museum if they are interested in it as an example of prismatic glass from the downtown area. They have tried several different ways to try to salvage it. Also that intermediate lintel between the transom glass and the glass block has also been chiseled away and chipped away and battered. So it's not salvageable. And, but the cast iron column will remain and be painted. This underscores why I encourage and ask people to fill out the window survey that we do, because again, had this information been completed for each of the windows, we would have brought this to the commission, and I think you would have come to the same conclusion or similar conclusion on this window, but instead it took some going back and forth and getting the architect to do the investigation that needed to be completed on it. So I just wanted to bring you up to date on that. Sometimes I think you wonder what happens after you pass things off, and 5 months later, we have an answer for you.
So they're going back with just the storefront framing going in that opening?
Yes, because there is truly nothing left of the historic
Yeah.
framing that can be salvaged. You'd be trying to rebuild, and for one window, it's just kind of cost prohibitive and kind of doesn't really make architectural sense either at that point when there's
No.
not anything we're really preserving other than it's I think 34 by 48 inches of prismatic glass. It's the only prismatic glass that survives the building.
Right, didn't we have some question whether there was prismatic glass above the front and
They investigated that and pulled it off, and there is none there.
none there?
They pulled it off from the inside, so they could see.
And they're
Too bad.
moving along other than that, on that project, or is it?
They are
slow?
moving along. There is, again, if you remember, another project in town where a steel lintel has deflected and displaced. When they did this storefront, that lintel also deflected and displaced, and just today I got the estimate and the proposal from the mason to repair the brick between the storefront lintel and the second floor windowsill. So they will be raising that lintel before they put the storefront system in, because it's got a fairly good deflection in it, and then reinstall and repoint that brick. They've been very good to work with. That wasn't something they had originally planned to do, but after talking with the structural engineer and the glass fabricator, it was decided that was the appropriate approach at this time to do it and fix it right. Otherwise, they were going to have to be trying to figure out how to deal with that gap that would appear.
Yeah.
So I always am appreciative of applicants who are willing to, look at things from a preservation standpoint and do the right repairs while the opportunity is here. So any questions about where this one went?
Do they have any estimate of when they might be completed with their
I
project?
think the owner, the architect, and the contractor all have different dates. One would expect to be in by now, one
Yeah.
is working furiously to make it happen, and the other is waiting.
And that was a salon, wasn't it?
It is a salon, it will
Yeah.
still be going in, they're anxiously waiting to open.
I'm sure.
Did Mandrake ever open?
I
Yes.
believe it did, but I've never been there, so I'm not
Yeah,
here
they're
at night
open.
for dinner,
I was
so.
there the other night.
Okay. Just curious.
It's a beautiful, it's a nice build out, interior and exterior.
Yeah, it's gorgeous inside.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so announcements from the commissioners, anything? From members of the public, if you want to say something, you can come up, state your name. And public comment.
Hal Watts, Preservation Partners, the Fox Valley. First off, I want to just give you all an invitation. We're having a speaker come on May 3rd. He is from the city of Aurora, and he's going to come to the city of Batavia and talk to the people of the Fox Valley about what they're doing in there for preservation. So essentially, what he has been doing there is using the International Existing Building Code to find creative ways for preservation of particularly smaller buildings, because one of the biggest problems is fire suppression. And fire suppression is very expensive compared to in a small building, and so they found some different ways. And this gentleman is going to come and explain that. And if you can come, that's great. It's totally free. And then secondly, we're kind of keeping an eye on the dams. So as you know, all the dams in Kane County, the Army Corps of Engineers wants to remove them. And we have asked the Army Corps of Engineers to be a consulting party, which means basically we just get the information fed directly to us instead of have to go find it. Heard back from them today about it, and to make a long story short, the process on the historic part of on taking the dams out, there's a section 106 that has already been completed. So they're a little hesitant to have us be involved anymore because they basically consider it to be done. And all we're trying to do really is make the public aware of the fact that there will be probably some kind of impact to the historic character of St. Charles, Geneva, Batavia, if all the dams are removed. So my point in all this and what I'm trying to do and why I'm talking to you guys about it is I just want to make sure that the cities are aware and are thinking about the impact, the historic character of the downtown areas if those dams are removed as part of their decision-making process on whether or not they want the dams to come out or not. It doesn't appear Geneva to be as sticky as an issue as it is in St. Charles. It's a very contentious issue up there. They have a nice lake north of their dam that they really like. And they have a task force that is meeting monthly from a variety of different people that are coming together to try to get some information, which is going to be great for me because I get to go to the meetings and learn all about all that stuff and share it with you guys from time to time if necessary. So that's all I got.
Great, thank you. Okay, with that, can I get a motion to adjourn? Or do you have something else to?
Yes, due to some health reasons and personal issues with my health, I'm going to be stepping down from commissioner. Tonight will be my last meeting. Just to thank everyone that for everything. It's been a great learning experience, and I've really enjoyed every bit of it. Kind of reluctantly given this up or stepping down. So anyway, I just want to let everyone know that.
Well, thank you for letting us know. We really appreciate all the input, and I personally have found your input very enlightening because to get an idea from a contractor's point of view is always good. So it's always good to know a person that's actually been out there and done it,
Yeah.
what they have to say. But
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, good luck to you and your health,
Yeah.
Don, and I've enjoyed sitting next to you and chatting it up. and
Yeah,
miss
it's
you.
been great. I
Yeah.
mean, I
Yes,
always like to
thank
keep
you.
learning on this. Yep.
Thank you, Don, for everything, and best of wishes for your health.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
I second that too.
Okay.
Haven't served with you for very long.
Well, I will just say that when Don came on, I was very happy to have someone in the carpentry contracting world come onto the commission because I think that does lend a different perspective. But I've also enjoyed working with Don. He asks a lot of questions behind the scenes and sometimes make me scratch my head and think a little bit harder on a project, so I do appreciate that. And I hope you will not lose my phone number, so you're still free to give me a call even though you are stepping down from your public service here. Still stay in touch, and if you have questions about your project, let me know.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
Okay, we all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? No. We're out.